In the heart of a serene small town named Willowbrook, nestled between rolling hills and tranquil meadows, lay the embodiment of literary charm. Whimsical Pages, this cozy bookshop, with its weathered brick walls and inviting bay windows adorned with potted flowers, exuded an air of timeless comfort. The scent of aged parchment and freshly brewed tea lingered in the air, creating an ambiance that whispered of stories waiting to be explored. As the morning sun cast a warm glow over Willowbrook's cobblestone streets, the bookshop's doorbell tinkled merrily, announcing the entrance of a visitor. Sarah, her chestnut hair pulled back in a loose bun, stepped inside, greeted by a symphony of creaking wooden floors and the soft rustling of pages being turned. Her eyes danced across the shelves, each laden with volumes that held within them entire worlds waiting to be discovered. The bookshop's owner, a kindly woman named Mrs. Bennet, smiled from behind the counter, recognizing the familiar face. "Welcome back, dear. It's been a while, hasn't it?" Sarah's gaze wandered as if searching for a memory among the rows of books. "Yes, Mrs. Bennet, it has." Little did Sarah know that this visit, unlike any other, would unravel the threads of time, reuniting her with a chapter of her past she had long considered closed. Stay tuned for Chapter 2, where Sarah's journey takes an unexpected turn as she encounters a figure from her distant memories, setting in motion a heartwarming tale of rediscovery and friendship. Amidst the soft glow of the bookshop's ambient lighting, Sarah's presence emanated a blend of nostalgia and quiet elegance. Her hazel eyes, framed by fine lines that told tales of laughter and contemplation, sparkled as they roved across the bookshelves. A gentle smile curved her lips as her fingers lightly traced the spines of well-loved classics and intriguing mysteries, each touch invoking memories of hours spent lost within the pages of 1,000 stories. Her attire, a cozy knit sweater and a pair of worn-in jeans, embodied both comfort and a hint of sophistication. A silver locket dangled around her neck, a piece of jewelry that held secrets known only to her and the past she cherished. A sense of tranquility surrounded her, as if the bookshop was not just a place she visited, but a haven where her soul found solace. As Sarah reached for a volume of poetry, a strand of chestnut hair slipped from behind her ear, and her lips moved imperceptibly, silently reciting lines of verse she had known by heart for years. In her late 40s, she carried herself with a grace that spoke of the wisdom of her experiences, and yet her eyes held a spark of youthful curiosity that hinted at a lifetime of stories yet to be lived. Unbeknownst to her, the cozy bookshop she had stepped into would soon become the stage for a reunion that would rekindle the embers of friendships thought to be lost in the passage of time. The delicate chime of the bookshop's doorbell resonated through the air, marking the entrance of a new figure into the literary haven. James, his stride purposeful yet unhurried, crossed the threshold with an air of quiet contemplation. His salt-and-pepper hair and a well-groomed beard framed a face etched with the lines of laughter and life lived fully. The warmth of his chestnut eyes held a story of their own, a tale of experiences woven into the fabric of his being. Dressed in a casual button-down shirt and faded jeans, James embodied a fusion of comfort and sophistication. A leather messenger bag slung over his shoulder carried an air of mystery, as if it held the key to unlocking hidden adventures. The faint scent of sandalwood lingered around him, a subtle reminder of the journeys he had undertaken and the memories he had gathered. As his gaze swept over the shelves, the corners of James's lips curled upward, a wistful smile that spoke of fond remembrance. He moved with the familiarity of someone who knew the terrain of Whimsical Pages intimately, someone who had walked its aisles and explored its literary treasures before. It was a twist of fate, an alignment of stars perhaps, that brought James to the same bookshop on the same day as Sarah. As their eyes met across the cozy expanse, recognition ignited in his gaze, and the realization that the years apart hadn't dimmed the connection they once shared settled upon him like a gentle embrace. In this unassuming bookstore, where stories both written and unwritten beckoned, the paths of Sarah and James were destined to cross once more, setting in motion a tale of rediscovery, shared memories, and the quiet magic that only old friendships can kindle. The air within Whimsical Pages held a suspended breath as Sarah turned from the shelf, her fingers still delicately gripping the poetry book she had been perusing. And there, bathed in the warm embrace of the bookshop's inviting light, stood James, their eyes locked in a moment of suspended disbelief, as if the universe had pressed pause to grant them this unexpected encounter. A glimmer of recognition danced in Sarah's hazel eyes, and her lips parted in a silent gasp of realization. Memories, once tucked away in the corners of her mind, rushed to the forefront as if released from an age-old spell. It was the same mischievous grin that had accompanied their childhood escapades, the same earnest gaze that had shared countless secrets under the moonlit sky. The surprise gave way to the warmth of nostalgia, and as if drawn by an invisible force, they closed the distance between them. Sarah's voice trembled slightly as she whispered, "James?" He mirrored her smile, the lines at the corners of his eyes deepening with genuine delight. "Sarah, is that really you?" With a heartfelt laugh that held echoes of their youthful laughter, she replied, "Yes, it's me. After all these years," and there in the heart of the bookshop that held the power to resurrect memories, they embraced as if time itself had collapsed, and they were children again. Life's demands and the years that had stretched between them melted away in an instant, leaving only the warmth of shared history and the promise of rekindling their friendship. As they withdrew from the embrace, their eyes held a quiet understanding, a recognition that this unexpected reunion was a gift, a chance to weave new chapters into the story of their lives. And as they settled into a pair of armchairs tucked into a cozy corner of Whimsical Pages, the stories of their past began to intertwine with the present, setting the stage for a journey of rediscovery and heartwarming connection. Awkwardness gave way to the familiarity that only true friends possess as Sarah and James found themselves cocooned in the warm embrace of each other's presence. Their initial hesitance dissolved like morning mist beneath the sun's gentle rays, replaced by a joy that radiated from their very beings. With a fond chuckle, James said, "Who would have thought we'd stumble upon each other in a place like this?" Sarah's laughter joined his, a harmonious melody that resonated with years of shared memories. "Life has its surprises, doesn't it?" As they settled into their armchairs, cushions embracing them like old friends, the bookshop's cozy atmosphere seemed to weave a cocoon around their conversation. Their voices grew animated as they delved into tales from their childhood, each memory a treasure that had waited patiently to be uncovered. "Remember that summer we spent building the treehouse?" James asked, a playful glint in his eyes. "Of course," Sarah replied, her own eyes sparkling. "We thought it was a fortress guarding us against the world." They recounted escapades of daring adventures, secret hideouts in the woods, and shared dreams of conquering distant lands. The bookshop itself, their sanctuary of imagination, became a recurring character in their stories. "I used to imagine that the dusty old books whispered stories to us," James mused, a wistful smile playing on his lips. Sarah nodded in agreement. "And Mrs. Bennet, with her endless patience, always let us lose ourselves in those stories." Their laughter echoed through the bookshop, intertwining with the scent of aged paper and the soft rustling of pages being turned by other curious souls. As they swapped stories, the gaps between their lives' chapters seemed to shrink, replaced by a sense of unity that only time-tested friendships can bring. And there, cocooned within Whimsical Pages' welcoming walls, Sarah and James found themselves immersed in the shared tapestry of their past. They journeyed through the forgotten lanes of their memories, rekindling a connection that had endured the test of time. Amidst the laughter and stories, Sarah's fingers brushed against something unexpected. A weathered journal hidden behind a row of books. Its pages bore the marks of age, as if it had been a silent witness to the passing years. But what caught her breath was the sight of both their names, delicately inscribed on the cover in faded ink. "James," she said, her voice a mixture of surprise and wonder. "Look what I found." James leaned in, his eyes widening as he read their names etched upon the journal. A flicker of recognition danced in his gaze. "That's the journal we used to keep." Memories rushed back like a river breaking its banks. The journal was their childhood treasure, a shared repository of thoughts, drawings, and dreams. It had been lost to time, a relic of their past that they had assumed was gone forever. Gently, Sarah lifted the journal from its hiding place, the pages rustling like whispers from the past. The cover was worn, the spine creased from years of exploration. As she opened it, they were greeted by familiar handwriting. James's playful loops and Sarah's elegant cursive side by side, a testament to their enduring friendship. "What's inside?" James asked, his curiosity piqued. Sarah flipped through the pages, her smile growing with every entry they encountered. Drawings of fantastical creatures, plans for adventures, and even snippets of the poems they had composed together, all resided within the journal's worn pages. "We wrote about everything, didn't we?" Sarah said, her voice carrying a mixture of fondness and nostalgia. "We sure did," James replied, his gaze fixed on a doodle of a dragon they had both declared was their guardian against the unknown. Their fingers brushed against the memories preserved on paper, a tangible link to the dreams they had shared as children. The journal was a key to a door they had long forgotten, a door that led to the cherished moments that shaped their friendship. As the afternoon sunlight filtered through the bookshop's windows, Sarah and James found themselves immersed in the journal's contents. Each page turned was a step further into their shared past, a testament to the bond they had formed in their youth. And as they continued to explore the pages of the journal, the stories of their childhood danced once more within the cozy walls of Whimsical Pages. Chapter 2. Rediscovering Memories. With the journal cradled gently between their hands, Sarah and James found a quiet corner of Whimsical Pages to settle in. The cushioned chairs seemed to envelop them in a cocoon of nostalgia, while the soft glow of nearby reading lamps cast a warm, inviting light over their shared endeavor. As they opened the journal to the first page, their eyes met, a silent affirmation of the journey they were about to embark upon. The words on the aged pages seemed to shimmer with the echoes of their youthful voices. "I remember this entry," Sarah said, her voice soft and filled with wonder. "It's about the day we pretended to be explorers in search of hidden treasure." James nodded, a reminiscent smile curving his lips. "Yes, and we convinced ourselves that the park was a vast, uncharted land waiting to be discovered." Together they read aloud the entries, their laughter and shared memories filling the air like the fragrance of an old, well-loved book. The journal was a time capsule, transporting them back to a time when the world was an open canvas of possibility, and their imaginations knew no bounds. "Here's the drawing of that quirky imaginary creature we made up," James remarked, his finger tracing the lines of an odd yet endearing figure. Sarah's laughter bubbled up, mingling with his. "We were convinced it roamed the woods, keeping our secret hideout safe." As the afternoon waned and shadows lengthened, they continued to leaf through the journal's pages, rediscovering forgotten adventures, inside jokes, and the dreams they had woven together like a tapestry of friendship. The bookshop around them seemed to hold its breath, as if time itself were suspended to honor the rekindling of their connection. Amid tales of daring escapades and shared aspirations, they stumbled upon a hand-drawn map, a map they had completely forgotten about until now. The map led to a spot in the woods, marked with an X and a note that simply said, "Our treasure." Sarah looked at James, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Should we follow the map?" James grinned, his gaze alight with the same adventurous spirit of their childhood selves. "Absolutely. Let's go on one more adventure, just like old times." As they folded the journal and placed it carefully on the table, they exchanged a glance that held the promise of more memories waiting to be made. With the map clutched in their hands, they stood, ready to venture into the woods and uncover the hidden treasure of their shared past, a treasure that had been waiting patiently for their return. Just like the bond they had rekindled within the cozy confines of Whimsical Pages. With the journal resting between them, its pages a portal to their shared past, Sarah and James began to read. The entries were like whispers of their childhood, the inked words carrying the weight of forgotten adventures and cherished moments. "Listen to this," Sarah said, her voice infused with a mix of wonder and amusement. "We thought the treehouse we built was a fortress guarding us from pirates and dragons." James chuckled, his eyes alight with remembrance. "Ah yes, our imaginations knew no limits back then." Together they embarked on a journey through the journal's pages, immersing themselves in a world of make-believe. They read about their daring quests as intrepid explorers, their secret hideouts concealed beneath the cover of trees, and the grand dreams they had painted for their future selves. "Here's that drawing of our spaceship," James said, pointing to a sketch of an intricate spacecraft surrounded by stars. "We were convinced we'd be astronauts." Sarah's laughter was like a melody, harmonizing with his, "and we spent hours designing our mission to explore distant galaxies." As they turned page after page, the waves of nostalgia grew stronger, their laughter intermingling with the scent of old pages and the soft rustling of leaves outside the bookshop's windows. The journal was a portal, transporting them back to a time when every adventure was grand and every dream was within reach. "We used to imagine that the old well in the park was a magical portal to another world," Sarah said, her eyes sparkling with fondness. "Our imaginations were our greatest allies," James nodded, his gaze fixed on the journal as if it held the key to a world he had forgotten. "We believed in magic, didn't we? Everything was possible." As the afternoon sunlight painted golden hues on the bookshop's interior, they continued to read, their fingers tracing the inked words as if trying to capture the essence of their shared history. The journal was a treasure trove, unlocking not just memories, but emotions that had remained dormant through the years. With each turned page, the journal cast a spell that summoned the spirit of their youth, their hopes, dreams, and the unbreakable bond they had forged in the crucible of childhood. The warmth of those moments washed over them, like a cozy blanket wrapped around their hearts. And as the final rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, they closed the journal with a sense of contentment, the echoes of their shared laughter and dreams reverberating within the bookshop's walls. The journal had rekindled a fire that time had failed to extinguish, a fire that illuminated the path they were destined to walk together. Now that they had rediscovered the treasure trove of their past, with the journal nestled between them, its pages a portal to their shared history, Sarah and James continued their journey down memory lane. As they turned the pages, a folded piece of paper slipped from between the faded leaves, landing gently on the table before them. It was a hand-drawn map, intricately detailed and weathered by time. Curiosity ignited in their eyes as they unfolded the map, revealing a series of winding paths, landmarks, and a bold X marked in a corner of the paper. "What's this?" Sarah wondered aloud, her fingers tracing the map's lines. It looks like a treasure map. James leaned in, his brows furrowing slightly as he examined the map. I remember this. It's the map we made during that summer when we thought we'd find hidden treasure. A smile played at the corners of Sarah's lips. Yes, the summer of endless adventures. The map seemed to be a snapshot of their childhood imagination, capturing the essence of their youthful enthusiasm and boundless curiosity. And at its heart lay a promise of discovery, an adventure that had remained untouched, waiting for them to reclaim it. We always believed there was a treasure hidden somewhere, James mused, his voice laced with nostalgia. Sarah's gaze met his, a spark of excitement in her eyes. Should we follow the map? James grinned, his eyes alight with a childlike sense of wonder. Absolutely. Let's go on one last treasure hunt, just like we used to. With the map in hand, they traced the pathways, trying to remember the landmarks they had so carefully drawn. The journey was not just into the woods, but into the realm of their shared past, a past where every nook and cranny held the potential for magic and wonder. As they stepped out of Whimsical Pages and into the nearby woods, the journal's pages seemed to come alive around them. The breeze whispered secrets of their childhood adventures, and the rustling leaves beneath their feet carried echoes of laughter from long ago. With the map guiding their way, Sarah and James ventured deeper into the woods, their excitement building with every step. The treasure hunt was more than a quest for hidden riches. It was a journey to rekindle the spirit of adventure that had defined their friendship. And as they followed the trail of memories, they knew that the true treasure they sought was the bond they had rediscovered, the bond that had weathered time and remained as enduring as the map in their hands. The woods welcomed Sarah and James with open arms, their footsteps muffled by the thick carpet of fallen leaves. The hand-drawn map led them deeper into the heart of the forest, each step an echo of their shared excitement. As they walked side by side, the years seemed to melt away, leaving only the two adventurous souls who had once explored these very woods. I can almost hear the echoes of our laughter, Sarah said, her voice hushed as if not to disturb the sanctity of their memories. James nodded, his gaze fixed on the map as if it were a compass guiding them to a long-forgotten treasure. It's amazing how these woods still hold the same magic. The landmarks on the map began to align with their surroundings, a gnarled tree that resembled the guardian oak, a small stream that mirrored the whispering brook, and a rock formation that bore an uncanny resemblance to the enchanted rocks. With each discovery, their laughter and anticipation grew, carrying them deeper into the adventure. They navigated the trails, crossed small bridges, and climbed gentle slopes as if they were exploring a world anew. The map was not just a guide. It was a bridge connecting the past to the present, uniting their youthful dreams with the reality of the moment. There it is, James exclaimed, his finger pointing at a clearing bathed in dappled sunlight. At its center was a large, weathered tree, a perfect match to the treasure tree marked on the map. Sarah's heart raced as they approached the tree, their steps quickening with a sense of imminent discovery. Nestled within a hollow in the tree's trunk was a small box, waiting to be unearthed. With careful hands, they lifted the box from its hiding place and exchanged a glance that held a mixture of anticipation and wonder. The box itself was worn, its edges softened by time. As they opened it, their breaths caught in unison. Inside were an array of treasures, small trinkets, letters bound with ribbons, and tokens of their friendship that had stood the test of time. Each item held a story, a memory, a fragment of the adventures they had once embarked upon. Sarah's voice was soft, filled with emotion as she picked up a colorful friendship bracelet. I remember making these together. We said they'd symbolize our unbreakable bond. James nodded, his eyes misty as he held up an old keychain. And this keychain from our visit to the amusement park. We thought it would unlock all the secrets of the universe. As they examined each item, their laughter mingled with a touch of nostalgia. The treasures they held were not gold or jewels, but something far more precious, the essence of their friendship, preserved in the passage of time. With the sun casting a warm glow over the clearing, Sarah and James sat together, surrounded by the memories they had rediscovered. The adventure to find the hidden treasure had led them not just to a physical box, but to a treasure trove of feelings and connections that had been waiting patiently for their return. And as they closed the box and stood to leave the woods, their hearts were lighter, their bonds stronger, and their souls forever intertwined by the adventure they had shared. The journey to find the hidden treasure had turned out to be an odyssey of the heart, a testament to the enduring magic of their friendship guided by the hand-drawn map's intricate pathways. Sarah and James ventured deeper into the woods, the anticipation of discovery quickening their heartbeats. The forest seemed to embrace them, each rustling leaf and whispering breeze carrying the echo of their childhood laughter. Look, Sarah said, her finger tracing the map's lines. This must be the spot where we buried our treasures. James nodded, his gaze following the map's directions. It's amazing how we remembered all these landmarks. As they reached the designated spot, their eyes met, a mixture of excitement and nostalgia dancing in their gazes. The years between them melted away as they stood in front of the very place they had once deemed sacred. "Shall we?" James asked, a mischievous grin playing on his lips. Sarah nodded, a sense of wonder filling her chest. "Let's do it." With hands that held years of friendship, they knelt and began to dig, the soil giving way to the promise of rediscovery. The moments of their past swirled around them, like spirits awoken from their slumber by the familiarity of their touch. And then, beneath layers of earth, they uncovered a small box, the treasure trove of their youth, the embodiment of the adventures they had once shared. With gentle hands, they lifted the box from its resting place and exchanged a look that spoke volumes. It was a silent conversation between two friends who had found something precious, a connection to their past, a testament to their bond. As the lid of the box opened, memories spilled forth like jewels from a treasure chest. Trinkets and tokens of their friendship lay within. Handwritten letters that bore the marks of youthful penmanship, seashells collected from the shore they had visited, a worn-out comic book they had once read together under the stars. With gentle hands, they lifted the box from its resting place and exchanged a look that spoke volumes. It was a silent conversation between two friends who had found something precious, a connection to their past, a testament to their bond. As the lid of the box opened, memories spilled forth like jewels from a treasure chest. Trinkets and tokens of their friendship lay within. Handwritten letters that bore the marks of youthful penmanship, seashells collected from the shore they had visited, a worn-out comic book they had once read together under the stars. Sarah's voice was filled with wonder as she held up a small origami boat. "I remember folding this after we saw that movie about the sea." James laughed softly, his eyes alight with the memories that the box held. "And this keychain, it was from that amusement park we thought held all the world's mysteries." As they explored the contents of the box, time seemed to stand still. The trinkets and letters spoke a language of their own, a language of shared dreams, secrets, and a bond that had transcended the years. In the midst of the forest, surrounded by the treasures of their past, Sarah and James felt as if they had journeyed through time, a journey that had brought them back to the heart of their friendship, to the roots from which it had sprung. And as they closed the box, the treasures of their youth safely tucked away once more, they knew that their shared memories were the most valuable treasure of all. Hand in hand, they left the woods behind, their hearts lighter and their souls touched by the magic of their rediscovery. The adventure to find the hidden treasure had led them to a treasure trove of emotions, shared stories, and a bond that had never truly been lost. With the small box in their hands, Sarah and James retreated to a fallen log in a peaceful glade. They placed the box between them, anticipation and a sense of reverence filling the air around them. Each item nestled within the box held the power to unlock a chapter of their shared past. Sarah gently lifted the first item, an old letter tied with a faded ribbon. As she unfolded the paper, memories of their handwriting and the secrets they had shared spilled forth like whispers of the past. "This is from the summer we were pen pals," Sarah recalled, her voice soft with sentiment. James leaned in, reading the letter over her shoulder. "I'd almost forgotten how many secrets we entrusted to those pages." Together they read the letter, laughing at their youthful worries and dreams. The words held a melody of innocence, a snapshot of a time when their bond had been as unbreakable as the promise of the sunrise. Next, James picked up a small seashell, its colors muted by time. "This shell is from our beach adventure." Sarah nodded, her eyes alight with remembrance. "We spent hours collecting shells and building sandcastles." They held the seashell between their palms, a tangible link to the day they had let the waves wash away their cares. It was a reminder that no matter the distance or the years, their connection remained as steady as the tides. Sarah's fingers found a worn comic book, a relic from their late-night readings under a sky adorned with stars. "This is from the night we stayed up reading until dawn." James smiled, his gaze softening as he traced the comic's cover. "We used to imagine we were the heroes of our own stories." With each item they uncovered, their bond deepened. A friendship bracelet, a faded photograph, a pressed flower. The treasures held stories that were both their own and shared. Each tale was a brushstroke on the canvas of their past, a testament to the tapestry they had woven together. As they explored the contents of the box, the glade seemed to be a haven where the echoes of their laughter and whispers of their memories mingled with the breeze. It was a sacred space, where time had no hold and the weight of years could not dim the vibrancy of their connection. With the last item in hand, a worn keychain, they exchanged a look that conveyed more than words ever could. It was a look that said, "No matter where life took us, our friendship remained." As the sun dipped below the horizon, bathing the glade in a warm glow, Sarah and James placed the items back into the box with care. It was a fitting closure to their adventure, an adventure that had led them not only to a hidden treasure, but to a treasure trove of shared memories and a bond that had endured. Hand in hand they left the glade, their hearts full and their spirits light. The journey to discover the hidden treasures had been a journey of the heart, a journey that had reminded them of the magic of their friendship, the power of shared stories, and the enduring connection that time and distance could not sever. With the contents of the box safely returned, Sarah and James made their way back to Whimsical Pages, the bookshop's familiar warmth welcoming them as if it were a haven of shared memories. Their steps were light, their hearts brimming with the treasures they had rediscovered. As they entered the cozy bookshop, Mrs. Bennet greeted them with a knowing smile. "I see your adventure went well." Sarah and James exchanged a glance, their smiles mirroring the excitement that sparkled in their eyes. "It was beyond anything we could have imagined," Sarah replied. With the small box and its contents in hand, they made their way to a corner of the bookshop that seemed to beckon them. An alcove bathed in soft light and adorned with rustic shelves. It was the perfect spot to display the treasures of their past. "I think these items deserve a special place," James said, his voice carrying a note of determination. Sarah nodded in agreement. "A place where we can come back and relive our memories." As they carefully arranged the items on the shelves, each piece seemed to come alive with a renewed significance. The letters, the seashell, the comic book, all were pieces of a puzzle that depicted the story of their friendship, the chapters that had been written with laughter, imagination, and an unbreakable bond. "Look how well they fit together," Sarah said, her gaze sweeping over the assembled items. "It's like they were always meant to be here." James stepped back, his eyes tracing the arrangement with a sense of contentment. "It's our own mini-museum of memories." And indeed, the alcove had transformed into a shrine of their past, a testament to the enduring friendship that had shaped their lives. The shelf held not just items, but a collection of moments, emotions, and the shared adventures that had woven the tapestry of their connection. As they stood side by side, Sarah and James shared a quiet moment, a silent promise sealed by their clasped hands. The bookshop, with its welcoming ambiance and timeless charm, seemed to embrace them as if it were a guardian of their memories. With a final glance at the mini-museum they had created, they turned to leave, their hearts full of gratitude for the journey they had undertaken. Their adventure had led them not only to the woods and back, but deep within the recesses of their hearts, a journey that had solidified their bond and reminded them of the magic of their friendship. As they stepped out of Whimsical Pages, the memories they had uncovered seemed to linger in the air, a whispered promise that their story would continue, as enduring as the tales that graced the shelves of their beloved bookshop. Outside the bookshop, Sarah and James paused on the cobblestone path, the evening breeze carrying the scent of nostalgia and the promise of a new beginning. They exchanged a knowing look, their gazes reflecting the understanding that had been rekindled between them. "You know," Sarah began, her voice soft but resolute, "it's strange how life took us on different paths, yet the bookshop and our memories held us together." James nodded, a smile playing on his lips. "It's like the universe conspired to bring us back here, to this place where our story began." They turned to look back at the bookshop, its windows aglow with the warm light of 1,000 stories waiting to be told. The bookshop had been more than a physical space. It had been the keeper of their shared adventures, the repository of their dreams, and the catalyst for their reunion. "The bookshop was like a bridge between our past and our present," Sarah said, her voice carrying a touch of wonder. "No matter where we were, our memories were always here, waiting for us to return." James took her hand, his touch a silent affirmation of their renewed connection. "And now let's make sure we don't lose touch again." Sarah smiled, her eyes shining with determination. "Absolutely. Let's continue making new memories, whether they're here or wherever life takes us." As they walked away from the bookshop, their steps in sync, their hearts aligned, they carried with them the promise of a friendship reignited and a future to be written together. The memories they had uncovered and the mini-museum they had created were not just artifacts of the past, but seeds of a renewed bond that would flourish as they nurtured it. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over their path, Sarah and James knew that the bookshop, their shared memories, and the magic of their friendship would be the compass guiding them through the chapters of their lives, chapters filled with laughter, adventure, and the enduring connection that had been rekindled within the cozy embrace of Whimsical Pages.